This is my Viking Husqvarna Automatic 21 sewing machine. I just picked this up last week, and with some help from YouTube videos and Facebook friends, most notably Hans Christian in Norway, I was able to get this thing up and running, and it runs quite well. I believe this is an early model 21. I was able to find lots of still photos on the interwebs of this exact model, and there was also several of them on eBay for auction, but I didn't see any YouTube videos of this exact model. So that's the purpose of this video, is to show you the differences between this early model 21 and the later ones. First off, pardon my squeaky chair, is the front cover. On the newer models, there's 4 or 5 horizontal ribs cast into the aluminum, whereas that's plain, as you can see. Next difference is the stitch length. In reverse is a lever here. On the later models, it's a rotary knob for the length with a push button in the middle of it for reverse. And also the stitch width has a lock on the end of the knob on the newer models, and this one doesn't have one. The only other difference on the front of the machine is the tensioner on the early model goes up to 4. On the newer models it goes up to 10, and I believe there's a Nigel Tufnell model that goes up to 11, but I haven't seen it yet. The biggest difference between the old and the newer model is they both have a 2-speed gearbox. The factory said this was for the low speed for doing delicate work or embroidery. But a lot of the people on the interwebs think it also helps doing heavy sewing as well. And one person brought up a feature that would be really nice. Running it at the slow speed would be great for teaching young kids how to sew, because things happen a lot slower and makes for a better result. On both models, this is the bobbin winder, and on the newer models, the 2-speed gearbox is activated by a push-pull assembly. This is a little bit different. I'll show you how this works. It's got this metal knob here. You turn it, it comes out. It's got a D-shaped boss on the end and a D-shaped boss here with the lever for the gearbox inside. What you do is slip this on the shaft for the slow speed, and for normal speed you just leave it as is. It locks in and stays there. That's how the gearbox works. And also this gearbox housing on the newer models, most of them seem to be made out of plastic, where this is cast aluminum. I'll go around to the back here, and there's the Model 21 tag, and there's the motor housing, which is also cast aluminum. And I believe on some of the newer ones, if I'm remembering correctly, the motor housing might be plastic. Now, they used a couple of different types of motors on these. Some that I saw use the old external magnet type motors that looks like something out of the 20s or 30s. What this one has is what I call, from my slot car racing days of the 1960s, a can motor, where everything's enclosed and sealed. The shaft comes out one end and the wires come out the other end. The funny thing about the motor in this is it's a can motor, and it has a metal tag on it like that, but smaller, riveted to the housing of the motor itself. And it says Viking Motors with the specifications, and it says Made in USA. which I thought was kind of unusual to have a made in USA motor on a Swedish machine. But I was thinking maybe it was a replacement motor that Husqvarna sourced in the US and had tagged just for them. It's almost the same shade of green, just a little bit darker, but I thought that was unusual. Well, that's about it for the differences. I'm pretty new to European machines. This is only the second one I've ever owned. Husqvarnas are pretty hard to date, and I always have a thing about needing to know what year my equipment was, coming from my collector car days. But there's not much rhyme or reason in Husqvarna's serial numbers. But this did come with some manuals that may shed some light on it. This manual here is the basic manual for the 20 series. That has a print date of 1954. And then also was included was the supplement for the 21 series, which basically just shows you how the cams work and the stitches you can make with the cams. And that's dated print date 1955. But most notably, and bear with me because I've only got one hand, is this sales brochure for the exact same model 21. And the brochure is dated 1956. So who knows, this may have sat on a dealer's shelf for years before they sold it. But going by the brochures and the manuals, I'm guessing this is probably maybe a 56, 57. But it may have been sold later. You never know. But if anybody has any insights to these older Model 21s, feel free to post them in the comments section. And thanks for watching my video.